Chapter 17. Food and Disease. Dadaji has nicely explained how the eating and drinking habits play a crucial role in health-related issues and arising of diseases. Dadaji recommends a balanced meal, food, containing all the 6 tastes. If a particular taste is consumed less than required, the consumption of some other taste would have been in excess, and this would create imbalance, and consequent to this, a disease could arise. For example, many people in India usually consume more of sweet and pungent foods. In India, but bitter and astringent tastes are avoided or not taken sufficiently. Hence, diseases occur due to the deficiency of ingredients comprising those 2 tastes. Diseases and disorders occur due to the absence of proper balance of tastes in one's own food pattern. Nothing will bother if one keeps normality in one's dietary habits. Anything consumed beyond or below normal turns harmful. No health-related issues would arise if one has a habit of consuming well-balanced food containing all the 6 tastes in required proportion. The traditionally prepared local meals plate usually takes care of the mix of all 6 tastes in an appropriately balanced manner. Origin of diseases. Dadaji says, one's body heat should be uniform throughout the body. Wherever the temperature fluctuates, that organ is rendered prone to a disease. Say a part of the brain is warm and the other part is cooler, then know that this is an indication that some disease has entered. If the treating doctor understands this well, he can cure the disease. Dadaji explains that so long as the underlying causal aspect of diseases are not fully understood, the correct remedy for curing the diseases would not be feasible. A fellow asked Dadaji, a huge amount of money is spent every year for research in inventing remedies for curing diseases. Should it not bear successful results? Dadaji answers, all these research methods are not holistic. What great findings can they achieve by experimenting on animals which are of a different form altogether, a different species? Dadaji gives a hint to the medical world that only a few of the diseases originate from the head, hands, or legs. Most of the diseases originate from the back, and some of the diseases originate from the stomach and chest. Almost all diseases originate from the posterior side of the human body. What we find elsewhere is just the resultant effect of those diseases. The fellow asks, so everything directly or indirectly depends upon food and the digestive system, right? Dadaji says, there are lots of veins in the intestine linings, which is very important for one's overall health. What one suffers in other organs of the body is only a resultant effect of any disorder in the intestines and digestive system. Hence, if one's digestive system remains fit and clean, then the whole body remains healthy, well-functioning, and disease-free. Dadaji says, almost everything depends upon food that one consumes, and that is the beginning of any disorder. However, what one eats is hardly within one's control. It depends on one's intrinsic bodily nature. What one is inclined to eat and drink depends on one's intrinsic bodily nature. Although one may decide that I must take only that much quantity of food that can be well digested, one may resort to overeating that may give way to constipation and resultantly various ailments. With building up of constipation, all the veins of the lower abdomen may get stuck over a period of time, which gradually result in the deterioration of one's imbibing efficiency and further accumulation of unimbibed intakes in the tummy jams up the nervous system that control one's digestive system. Fever. Dadaji says, when one has high temperature, then one wonders, how come I caught a fever? But one doesn't inquire what has caused the high temperature. Actually, the moment the fever manifests, it is the beginning of its leaving. People say, I caught the fever, but actually it has started coming out to leave your body. In fact, you caught precursors of fever the moment you consumed food and drinking items containing unhygienic molecules. Then onwards, they putrefy and ultimately the body raises temperature to eliminate those unhygienic molecules. When they get eliminated, after a certain period, the body's temperature would return to normal. The Dadaji says, the fever is discharging this way, but one says, I caught a fever, and then people ask doctors to stop the fever and intervene in the process of natural gradual reversal. People fail to understand that fever indicates that with fever, the bad molecules are being eliminated from your body. Fever is in fact beginning of returning of the body to its normal condition. The fellow asked the Dadaji to explain this phenomenon of reversal of fever. The Dadaji explains, when heat is felt in the body, people usually say, oh, I have got fever, let me check the temperature. But truly speaking, fever is a gradually receding process. Rise in body temperature is not the starting point of getting fever, but it is the beginning of fading away of the causes of fever that were lying latent so far. Fever was caused by consuming unhealthy food, and that is what the Dadaji called getting fever. Raising of temperature is actually the natural recovery process, but people consider it an illness and go to a doctor. But actually, nature has created this stage to destroy the unhealthy molecules and cleanse the body. Why are you disturbing the natural remedial process? Just wait for a few days and the body will be cleansed and return to normal. The Dadaji says, if I get a high temperature, I don't suppress it soon by taking medicine, but rather let it remain undisturbed for 1 or 2 days and allow the natural remedial process to continue. Then doctors, medicines, and other favorable circumstances will come together for a further cure. Dadaji explains that the process of fever is good for your body. The vitality power in the body requires a lot of effort to raise temperature in your body, but the fellow suppresses it by taking medicine. Should the temperature rise too high, a cool, damp washcloth on the forehead can be placed to cool down the head. Otherwise, it may damage the brain veins. During fever, one should also take care to avoid certain food items like those which are heavy to digest. Tuberculosis. The Dadaji has revealed a simple scientific understanding behind the cause of diseases. Once the Dadaji asked a well-known doctor of tuberculosis hospital, "Where do the tuberculosis bacteria come from in the body?" The specialist doctor answered, "They enter the body from the outside." The Dadaji asked, "How can it be?" The doctor replied, "That this is what all doctors in the world say, and we are educated accordingly." The Dadaji asked, "If the tuberculosis bacteria are entering the body from outside, then all the staff serving in the hospital should be affected by it. Why don't they get tuberculosis?" There he answered, "Well, it is their resistance power, a good immunity system." The Dadaji says that these doctors don't fully know about it, give their own narratives to approve the theory without going thoroughly into the deeper reasons behind it. "This doesn't make sense," the Dadaji told the doctor. The doctor asked the Dadaji to reveal the truth behind it. The Dadaji explained, "Tuberculosis bacteria don't come from outside. Those bacteria arise wherever there lies a filth biomaterial consumable by them. When a part of the lung gets spoiled due to some reason, foul particles arise in the lungs, and bacteria originate on their own function from those bad particles to consume those spoiled bioparticles and proliferate. While sawing of wood, sawdust arises, and with rainwater falling on it, certain insects arise from within that material. Those insects don't come from the outside. Likewise, wherever any organ of the body gets foul, certain bacteria arise. If every part of the organ is clean, no such microbes would arise there." The doctor asks the Dadaji, "Why do the parts of the lungs get foul?" The Dadaji explains, "Those foul particles in lungs are a result of particular food which gets into one's body system as an effect of one's own past life karmas. If we have done bad deeds, then foul molecules gather inside. Otherwise, good healthy molecules get accrued. Certain molecules stick within lungs and result in foul biomass, which later results in a disease. The natural law is that certain living beings arise from corresponding kinds of such molecules. Living beings such as bacteria, insects, and all arise on their own wherever their respective kind of molecules exist." The doctor accepted this explanation. Cancer. A seeker asked the Dadaji, "What is the science behind cancer?" The Dadaji explains, "Cancer is totally different from what is understood. It arises because of accumulation of certain molecules. Cancer does not happen all of a sudden. The process starts in the earlier years. It is like all the wastes of a city is collected and dumped on a certain landfill. Similarly, indigestible and non-disposable traces from the food get accumulated in some corner of the body and become compact and eventually proliferate as tumors of cancer. Such traces cannot be flushed out from the body, even when one takes laxatives. The Dadaji says, in these times, there are an increasing number of cases of cancer due to major shifts in people's eating and drinking habits and the items of foods and drinks. After consuming such foods, the body is not able to digest it fully, and the molecules, which neither could be imbibed nor could be thrown out of the body, accumulate at some place in the body. So long as the vitality power in the body is strong, they remain suppressed, but later on, with receding of vitality power, they erupt in the form of tumors of cancer. Dada says, smoking, having too much of coffee and tea, or excess consumption of processed foods like ice cream is a sign of inviting cancer. Drinking too much milk doesn't cause cancer, as it may at the most cause diarrhea and get washed out from the body. Consuming marijuana, opium, alcohol, and tobacco also cause cancer sooner or later. Refined wheat flour items like bread, burgers, and fried food items are very bad for health and should be avoided, as they too may invite cancer. That fellow tells the Dada, fried food items and wheat refined flour items such as burger, pizza, are very popular and available in every nook and corner. The Dada says that's why hospitals get more and more cancer patients, and the government is required to set up more and more cancer hospitals. If you ask a doctor for his personal opinion about a cancer patient, then he would say, one may probably get recovered from cancer, otherwise he is to be considered as cancelled. That fellow asked the Dada, cancer tumors are burnt by applying some kind of radiation therapy. How is that? The Dada explains, if those molecules in the tumor are such that they can be burnt this way, then they get burnt away. However, certain other kinds of molecules may not even get burnt away. Anyway, radiation therapy is good, otherwise umpteen number of cancer patients would be in a miserable condition. Albeit, such therapy gives apparent relief, but not a full cure. The Dada says, one's own karmic dues, their fruits, and the resultant effects all play a big role in such cases. This is all orderly and not a gossip, and that is why I don't scold anybody. Pain attracts the medicine. The Dada explains that prior to the arising of a disease, be sure that Mother Nature would have already created the medicine. This is the law of orderly nature. Hence, with the onset of any new disease, new medicines are also invented. First, the remedy is created, and then the disease would arise in the world. The Dada asks the doctor, see if I have pain in some other organ. You ask me to swallow a pill with my mouth. Do you know how it functions? The doctor could not explain. So the Dada did. He explained that the pain attracts the medicine. You take the medicine with your mouth, and the pain soon pulls it. If one has a headache, then the medicine moves upward. Wherever there is pain, medicine reaches there. It is a natural principle that pain attracts its medicine.